Listen attentively, men over 60. It's not because you're getting old if you wake up in the morning feeling like your manhood has died and you no longer have the natural strength you previously relied on. This is the actual shock. Your physique is in good condition. You didn't lose your erections forever. They have simply been calm, and they can be roused with the correct touch. I'm Dr. Mohit Khera, a urologist with over 30 years of experience assisting men in regaining their confidence, intimacy, and vitality. With the help of their own hands, their own breath, and a few easy minutes every day, I have witnessed thousands of men in their 60s and 70s reclaim what they believed was lost, without the use of dangerous medications or surgery. The paradox is this: science and experience show that erections are not permanently lost as men age, despite what most men think. Your manhood, your blood vessels, and your nerves are still capable, deep down. 3 underappreciated locations on your body that function as hidden switches hold the key, not a pill or pump. If you press them properly, your mornings will be different. I've promised you that today. You may regain blood flow, feeling, and your natural morning erections without shame, reliance, or fear by becoming familiar with these 3 pressure sites and incorporating them with your everyday routines. Keep on reading because I'll go over each of these things in depth in a moment, along with how to locate them and the habits that make them sustainable. To ensure you don't miss any more insightful advice for guys over 60, please take a moment to subscribe and activate the notification bell before we begin. If this message resonates with you, please let me know by leaving a comment with the number 1. Type 0 if it doesn't, so I can continue to make these classes better for you. Let's start with the first and most crucial truth now. Growing older doesn't mean that erections go away. In actuality, your body's natural blood and nerve signal routes become quieter. And after you realize this, everything else begins to shift. 1. Let me share a truth about aging and erections that I hope every man over 60 should hear from his physician. Losing morning erections does not indicate that you are irreparably wounded or broken. It's not evidence that you've lost your manhood. The reality is far more straightforward and optimistic. Your body still knows how to get out of bed in the morning. Your nerves have not died. You can still use your blood vessels. Your manhood is still waiting for you. However, the signals have become quieter over time. The switches that were so easy to turn on are now at rest. Additionally, the blood and energy-carrying routes are no longer in use. In my clinic, I have encountered innumerable guys who, when they question me, "Doctor, is something wrong with me?" lower their voices. Every day I used to wake up feeling strong, but now I feel nothing. And I tell them, "There's nothing wrong with you," looking them in the eye. The only thing your body needs is a reminder of what it already knows. You see, losing does not equate to aging. Your abilities do not disappear as you age. The signs that used to come readily are just easier to forget. Imagine it as a room in your house that you no longer go to. There is still power. The lights are still functional. However, the room remains dark because the switch hasn't been flicked in years. That does not imply that there is no longer any electricity. It indicates that no link has been established. This is also true for erections. Your body still contains the current. It's been a while since you've switched the switch. I recall a 74-year-old man named Harold who approached me in tears. "I don't care about sex anymore, Doc," he said. "All I want is to feel alive again when I wake up one day." That statement really got to me because it encapsulated what a lot of men genuinely want. Not only an erection, but also the confidence, dignity, and vitality that accompany it. Harold called me a few weeks after I had practiced what I was going to demonstrate to you, saying, "I woke up this morning and for the first time in 10 years, I felt like myself again." That's the reality of erections and aging. Being too old does not cause them to vanish. Since no one has taught you how to maintain those pathways, they fade because you stop delivering the messages. However, there is a strong, indisputable hope that those channels can be reopened. They are currently waiting inside of you, ready to react as soon as you give them the time and attention they need. There are 3 secret locations on your body that function as switches, and this is where the fun begins. They turn the circuits back on and off when you push them correctly, with the appropriate breath and intent. Sensitivity returns, blood starts to flow, and your body effortlessly recalls what it used to do. Let me now demonstrate the first of these spots, which is situated directly above your pubic bone. The majority of guys never consider touching it, but once they do, everything begins to change. 2. The initial point. Over the pubic bone. Just above your pubic bone, that tiny area of your lower abdomen where the belly and pelvis connect, is the first thing I want to discuss with you. The majority of guys never give this area any thought during their life. In reality, it is one of the most significant command centers of male life, yet they perceive it as little more than skin and bone. A patient's eyes frequently widen as I softly push here with him because something he believed had long since vanished stirs. It starts off as a faint hum of energy that can develop into warmth, circulation, and ultimately a natural reaction that no medication could ever duplicate. I recall a 67-year-old man called Walter entering my office with a dejected expression. "Doctor, I think I've lost it," he said. "It's been years since I woke up feeling strong." Putting my palm on the area above his pubic bone, I helped him breathe in deeply and gently press, not with force, but with presence. Minutes later, he experienced a slight surge of warmth. He straightened his posture, his face altered, and he smiled for the first time during our chat. He said, "Every morning I feel something stirring down there again." When he returned 2 weeks later, "It's returning, even though I thought it was gone." That is this point's power. It's not magic that makes it so effective, but biology. Important blood arteries and nerves that supply the lower organs run beneath this region. When we cease using them, the circulation slows, the arteries constrict, and the signals get weaker over time. You may physically encourage your body to return blood and energy to its proper location by using mindfulness and breathing to stimulate this area. Imagine it like a knock on a door that has been closed for too long already. The pathways awaken, and the door opens when you knock. I frequently advise my patients to take their time with this procedure. This isn't about attempting to force an erection right away or applying a lot of pressure. It's about getting back in touch with your own body. When you are patient and take care of your manhood, it will listen. And strength comes easily after that communication is restored. Many men have informed me that simply touching this point every day has restored their sense of dignity and physical response, as well as the knowledge that their body is still capable and alive. Even though the first point is quite strong, it is just the beginning. Because there is another area that may be the most important key of all, yet men hardly ever hear about it. Most men overlook the hidden location between your scrotum and anus, but when you activate it, it can release a rush of feeling and circulation. And when you do, you could find that your body is capable of much more than you previously thought. 3. The second point between the scrotum and anus is the perineum. We now reach the second point, and I can assure you that very few guys have ever really taken the time to consider it. The soft area that sits between your scrotum and anus is known as the perineum. It has been known for thousands of years in Eastern medicine and is commonly referred to as CV1. Unfortunately, it is rarely even brought up in Western medicine, despite the fact that this location has remarkable control over a man's sensitivity and circulation. I recall their astonishment when I first started educating patients about this topic. A lot of men gave me the expression that I was kidding, asking why in the world they should pay attention to a place that they had never paid any attention to before. However, I would gently lead them, encourage them to sit on a soft cushion or a tiny rolled towel, take a deep breath, and just let their body unwind in it. What frequently followed was nothing short of amazing. In a matter of minutes, many men experienced a little pulsing feeling, warmth in their lower body, or just the subtle knowledge that something within them was reawakening. I remember a 71-year-old Marine veteran called Thomas. "Doctor, it seems like the lights went out down there," he said as he entered my office. I no longer feel anything. I demonstrated for him how to sit while applying light pressure to his perineum. Only quiet and breathing, no pushing or shoving. He called me a few days later to let me know that something was going on. I sense a pulse once more, though it's weak. I feel alive. He told me that his mornings were no longer empty after a few weeks. Things that he believed had been lost forever, like warmth, feeling, and even natural strength, were coming back to him. What causes this to occur? Due to the perineum's valve-like function. Ignoring it causes blood flow to be stopped, nerve signals to be disrupted, and the body to lose the ability to provide energy to the penis. The valve opens as you sit and breathe on this point to remove that stress. Nerve pathways re-establish. Blood that has been confined for years starts to flow freely, and gradually, sensation returns to a location you may have believed had been lost to time. Though it takes time, even the slightest glimmer of emotion can inspire a great deal of optimism. And what changes everything is hope. A man's perspective shifts as soon as he senses even a hint of vitality returning to his lower body. He doesn't think he's broken anymore. He starts to change the way he carries himself, to believe that his body is still capable of responding, and to understand that growing older does not imply losing hope in oneself. That's why I think the perineum is so important. It is the entryway, the secret switch that most men never find. But when it is turned on, it can start a healing chain reaction. Even though this point is incredibly strong, practically every male I've ever shown it to is surprised by another. Not even your groin has it. It actually runs up your inner thigh, a location that you have most likely never associated with erections. However, once you learn to touch it, you might discover that it contains the last secret to regaining your energy and strength in unexpected ways. Fourth, the femoral pathway, inner thigh line, and third point. Perhaps the most neglected of all the points I wish to make is the third one. It directly affects whether you wake up feeling strong in the morning, even if it is not on your penis or groin. This place is located exactly where the thigh and lower abdomen meet, along the crease of the inner thigh. The femoral artery and nerve, two of the major thoroughfares that transport blood and signals to your manhood, are concealed beneath that gentle line. Your erections lose volume, sensitivity, and the vigor that used to come naturally when these roots are rigid, obstructed, or ignored. But everything changes when you wake them up. The majority of men consider their thighs to be only walking, standing, and sitting muscles. They hardly ever consider them a component of their sexual well-being. One patient that comes to mind is Earl, a truck driver who is 68 years old. After spending decades behind the wheel, he felt disengaged from his lower body by the time he got to me. I assumed my thighs were only for carrying me around, but he said, "Doctor, they have nothing to do with what goes on in the bedroom, I never thought." I demonstrated for him how to apply light pressure while breathing slowly and tracing the inside crease with his fingertips, stopping at any tight or sensitive areas. Earl was first doubtful. It felt weird, almost useless, he said. But after a week, he became aware of something surprising. He smiled and said, "Doctor, I feel warmer down below." The blood seemed to be flowing once more. He claimed that by the second week, he was waking up feeling stronger than he had in years. What really caught my attention, though, was what he added. "Not only do I feel better physically, I feel like a guy now. That is the secret point strength. It does more than merely get blood flowing again. It gives you back control, self-assurance, and the quiet dignity that comes from knowing your body still reacts to you. Here, the science is straightforward yet deep. Blood flows directly to the lower organs through the femoral artery. One of the primary pathways for feeling is the femoral nerve. The world's greatest medicine cannot make up for the loss of those passageways. However, you can relieve tension, increase flexibility, and clear the path by gently pushing, massaging, and breathing into this area. You remind your nervous system that the connection is still there, and you enable blood to flow freely once more. When they awaken this inner thigh line, many of the men I've dealt with experience more than just better erections. They say they sleep better, wake up feeling more at ease, and even have more energy when they walk. It seems as though the entire lower body awakens, bringing with it the manhood that had been silently awaiting its moment to emerge once more. You have now identified the 3 spots that serve as switches to bring back your innate strength: the inner thigh line, the perineum, and the pubic bone. However, making these demands is just one aspect of the situation, because the effects might not last if your body's foundation is poor. For this reason, I would like to share with you a series of simple yet effective daily routines that turn these methods from a passing fad into a long-lasting fire. And after you hear them, you'll see why men who follow them not only wake up more rested, but also live more energetic, vibrant, and peaceful lives than they ever thought possible. 5. Why these points work: a simple science. By now, you may be asking why these 3 points, the inner thigh, the perineum, and above the pubic bone, have such a significant impact. When you press, breathe, and raise awareness of them, what is actually taking place beneath the skin? The solution is straightforward science, along with the knowledge of re-establishing a connection with your own body, not magic or mystery. Blood flow and nerve impulses are the 2 systems that cooperate to produce erections. You don't even have to think about it when you wake up each morning with a powerful and open system. Morning strength diminishes when they are blocked or ignored, not because the talent is lost, but rather because communication has been disrupted. Consider your body to be a city with several highways. The electrical lines that illuminate the city are the nerves, while the roadways that transport traffic are the arteries. Cars cannot pass through a blocked road. The lights go dim if the power lines are not saved. However, the entire city comes alive once the roads are cleared and the current is restored. These points accomplish precisely that. Reviving circulation deep inside the pelvis, the point above the pubic bone delivers new blood to the organs that rely on it. Like a valve, the perineum reconnects nerves that have gone silent and releases flow that may have been blocked for years. The primary highway is opened by the inner thigh line, which permits the blood and signals to flow freely in the direction of your manhood once more. After a few weeks of stimulating these places, I have witnessed men who felt they were done, who felt that aging had robbed them of everything, find that their vigor, warmth, and sensation have returned. The 69-year-old Leonard once declared, "Doctor, I don't care about sex anymore." This makes me think of him. All I want to know is if my body still reacts. He contacted me one morning with a lively voice after he had mastered activating these areas. He said, "It occurred. I woke up hard. Just me, no gimmicks, no pills." I could tell everything from the enthusiasm in his voice. It was about dignity, self-assurance, and the profound relief of knowing he was still entire, not simply about the outward difference. These men's feelings are supported by science. Nitric oxide is released, the arteries enlarge, and sensitivity rises when blood flows freely. The brain starts sending stronger messages when nerves are reawakened, and the reaction below happens instantly. You just need to remind your body of the pathways it is already familiar with. You don't need to resist it. And when you do, your mornings become evidence of life instead of nothingness. Here's the secret, though. The points are strong, yet they don't provide the whole solution. Think of them as the switches that turn the lights back on. Although the lights may flicker or fade if the house's wiring is corroded, you must fortify the foundation upon which your body is built if you want the change to last and continue to flow for years to come. A few easy daily routines can make a big difference in such situation. Small habits that can surprise you but have the capacity to make these methods a permanent part of your life. And as you understand them, you might come to the conclusion that daily choices rather than one-time actions are the key to long-term strength. 6. The supporting habits. 5 daily boosters. Now that you know why these 3 ideas are effective, allow me to explain something that is crucial. Strong changes can be triggered only by pressing the spots, but you need to support them with a few easy behaviors if you want the improvements to endure, and you want to continue waking up every morning with strength that seems natural. These aren't strenuous workouts or intricate regimens. These are simple everyday routines that lay the groundwork for healthy erections. And by tiny, I mean so basic that many men initially ignore them. However, those that do so discover that their outcomes increase tenfold. Breathing is the first habit. Deep, steady, belly breathing, not the shallow, fast breathing that most of us perform without realizing it. I've witnessed men boost their nitric oxide, relax their blood vessels, and drop their blood pressure, all from 5 minutes of conscious breathing into the belly through the nose each day. After a week, I observed that my body was calmer and that my response was stronger in the mornings, even though I didn't think something so basic could matter, one man told me. Your masculinity senses that breathing brings you back to life itself. Staying hydrated is the second habit. Additionally, you should start your day with a glass of warm water rather than just any hydration. Your blood thickens after a long night. Warm water thins it out and promotes open circulation, particularly to the most important areas of your body. Although it's a tiny act, it prepares your system for power. Cutting back on sugar, especially in the evening, is the third habit. I understand how satisfying dessert is after supper, but sugar subtly harms the blood vessel lining. Your arteries have a harder time healing after each bite, and weakened arteries result in lower erections. I've had patients who just stopped eating ice cream every night and saw that their morning erections were fuller in a matter of weeks as a result of their vessels finally recovering. Movement is the fourth habit. And you don't have to lift a lot of weight or run marathons. After dinner, it only requires a quick, leisurely stroll. Your body's natural venous pump, which helps pump blood back up to your heart and maintain equal circulation, is activated during that stroll. Overnight, it significantly alters the way blood flows to your lower body and is safe and pleasant. Taking care of your body is the fifth and last habit. Your nervous system will resist if you go quickly through the points out of annoyance or impatience. Your body will pay attention, though, if you treat them with respect and care, as if you were caring for a sacred object. It's not New Age rhetoric. The neurological system's actual reaction to presence is this. These 5 habits work together as the cornerstone that transforms 3 basic ideas into a lifetime habit. They are the daily actions that remind your body, I still value you, I still trust you, and they are the reinforcements that prevent your results from vanishing. You are not alone, though, if you continue to question whether these methods are actually effective. A lot of men are dubious about the next section, which is why I want to tell you the true tales of men who used these techniques and found improvements they never believed were possible. Every time I discuss these approaches, I am aware that some guys are listening and giving courteous nods, but they are not convinced. They question whether these methods are overly straightforward, whether the outcomes are too good to be true, or whether they are the exception. The man who doesn't reply. I've sat across from hundreds of men who shared that doubt, so I know what it's like. However, I have learned a valuable lesson from what I have seen over the years. Regardless of age, when a guy adopts these habits, his body finds a way to react. Additionally, I have witnessed more than just bodily changes. In ways that are hard to describe, they restore connection, dignity, and confidence in a very intimate way. Consider Harold, a retired Minnesota postal worker who is 74 years old. One evening, after trying every medication and cure he could discover, he came to me, tired. "I don't need to feel 20 again, Doc," he added. "All I want is to feel important when I wake up one day." The loneliness and sadness that so many men suffer in silence were echoed in his comments. I reminded him that his body wasn't broken, taught him the three things, and urged him to have patience. His voice was shaking when he called me 3 weeks later. He said, "It occurred. For the first time in more than 10 years, I woke up this morning with strength, natural strength." That day, more than just his erection came back. It was his feeling of completeness and life. Then there was 69-year-old Leonard, who informed me he had lost interest in sex. He admitted, "I just want to know that my body can still react." He didn't have high expectations going into the exercise, but he soon sensed warmth, sensitivity, and a gentle heartbeat that he believed had vanished forever. He woke up one morning, felt his body react, and messaged me, "I know I'm not done yet, Doc. There is still life in me." His life was completely altered by that experience, which demonstrated that he was still a man despite his advanced age. I also can't forget Earl, the truck driver who had been behind the wheel for decades, his body exhausted and rigid. He did more than simply get better erections after he discovered how to activate the inner thigh line. Even he was amazed by the peace he had in the mornings and the renewed vitality in his legs. He said, "I feel more in control. Once again, I feel like a man." There is more to these tales than the resurgence of morning erections. It is the restoration of confidence, dignity, and optimism. These men looked in the mirror with pride rather than defeat, slept deeper, and walked higher. The realization that their bodies were not done, that they could still feel alive, and that they still had more to offer, altered their lives. Even if these tales are motivational, I have one more lesson to impart, possibly the most significant of them. You must comprehend the one principle that makes all the difference if you want these improvements to last for the rest of your life, not just for a week or a month. And after you hear it, you'll understand that your best years are still ahead of you, waiting in silence. 8. The last lesson. One truth dominates all the others after decades of dealing with men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s. Making a single attempt or hitting a button for a few minutes and hoping for a miracle won't result in real change. Commitment and presenting oneself each day with patience and purpose are the keys to real change. That's how a spark turns into a flame, how a practice becomes a ritual, and how a man recovers what he believed was lost forever. I have seen men learn the 3 points and experience a wave of optimism, but when they stop practicing, they revert to their previous level of uncertainty. And I've seen people change not just their mornings, but their entire lives by adopting these practices as a daily, self-respecting practice. Neither their age, nor their medical history, nor their luck differed. Their constancy was where they differed. They made the decision to give their bodies the respect they deserve and set aside a few minutes every day to breathe, press, and reestablish connections. And the narrative of their manhood was gradually rewritten by those little moments. I want you to realize that seeking youth is not the goal here. Trying to go back in time or act like you're 25 again is not the point. It's about entering this phase of life with courage, dignity, and self-assurance, telling your body that I still trust and believe in you and that I won't leave you now is what it's all about. Your body will react in unexpected ways when you do that and make these approaches a daily routine. You'll sleep deeper, wake up stronger, and exude a quiet confidence that people will notice about you. Walter once said to me, "Doctor, I feel like I've been given back a part of myself that I thought was gone." This makes me think of him. Harold, who recognized the potential in his mornings, comes to mind. Leonard comes to mind. He took delight in the fact that his body could still respond to him. These men were not attempting to regain their youth. They were taking back their place, their dignity, and their bond with life. That concludes the lesson I wish to impart to you in this section. Pressing buttons a couple of times and hoping for a miracle is not the answer. It's about making the daily decision to reestablish a connection, breathe, touch patiently, and trust that your body still has strength. Since it does, and if you consistently use that power, it will reward you in ways that go well beyond your erections. It will alter your perception of yourself as a man. I want to tie everything together as we enter the last leg of this adventure, because the research, the anecdotes, the habits, and the points all point to a single compelling conclusion. When you hear it, you'll realize that your prime is a reality that is just waiting to be experienced again, not a relic from the past. Conclusion. As this voyage draws to a close, I want you to take a moment to consider what you have just learned. You may have started this video wondering if your body has already passed its prime and feeling uncertain or perhaps frustrated. But now you are aware of the reality. Your potential to feel alive again is not limited by your age, your manhood is not lost, and your body is not shattered. You found 3 straightforward locations: the inner thigh line, the perineum, and above the pubic bone, that function as covert switches and wait patiently for you to turn them back on. You've also discovered that you may build long-lasting strength by integrating these shifts with everyday routines like taking deep breaths, sipping warm water, cutting back on sweets, walking softly, and showing respect for your body. Yes, I have explained the science to you, but more significantly, I have told you the tales of actual men, Harold, Leonard, Earl, who believed their bodies were done, but later discovered that they still had life, dignity, and strength. And you, the man sitting here listening to me now, have been on my mind as I've shared their stories, for I am aware that within you there is the same fervor, the same silent want to awaken and realize that your body still belongs to you, that it still responds to you, and that it still possesses the fortitude of a man who has survived and triumphed. This has nothing to do with pursuing young. It's about getting back what was rightfully yours, but might have been kept silent for too long. You are not only boosting blood flow or nerves when you gently press these areas and take deep breaths, you are also reminding yourself that you are still alive, that you are important, and that your life is not yet over. You are repeating the message each time you slow your breathing, select water over candy, or take a walk after supper. We all grow when we share, so please share what you learned today and what change you're ready to make in the comments box below. Let's support each other. If you found this video useful, or if it even slightly opened your eyes, please click the like button. To be sure you don't miss any information that could change your health, click subscribe. Before you go, ring the bell. If this video was helpful, please enter 1. If not, enter 0. You might not be aware of the significance of your comment. I will not give up on my body because I trust it and I respect it. The last lesson, the one I hope you remember, is that making a difference requires more than one action. It's about presenting yourself with intention and care each and every day. Men like Walter, Thomas, and countless more changed their morning routines, self-esteem, and confidence in this way. And you may do the same. You already possess the power you seek. All you need to do is awaken it. I want you to take this message personally as you finish it. Make the decision to start tonight when you're lying down or when you wake up tomorrow. Decide to show up for yourself, find the points, and take a deep breath. Because when you do, you'll realize that your peak is still ahead of you, something that many guys have already discovered. It is now alive and prepared to be returned as soon as you want to claim it. And when you do, you'll wake up stronger, more proud, and closer to the guy you really are, in addition to waking up harder.